Hi and welcome to another Mixed Media Tuesday, and today again I'm sharing an art journal page on my 6x6 journal book. For today I want to play with this Patina texture set. This is a set of acrylic paint colors and I absolutely love it. You have seen me using it again and again for a couple of years I believe now, and just because I use only a little bit every time, you see I still have pretty much the bottles full. So I will keep on using them because I absolutely love this color combination. Now what I have today in my mind is to do kind of a steampunk looking project. So I did spray the page with water just a little bit to keep it damp, and now I'm going directly with my brush and I apply the three colors there. I'm mixing the colors on top of my page. This is a thick watercolor page and I didn't prep the page at all so that it is nice and porous. And don't worry at all if you don't like your brush strokes or if you don't like the blending. You just want to end up with color on your page. This is just the first layer, and always make sure that it doesn't look flat. If you have 2 or 3 colors mixed together, it is always going to look better than just having one color flat all over the place. Now I'm going to bring in the copper, and this is a metallic paint, acrylic paint. You see it has shine on it. I'm going to use a very stiff brush, and I'm using a paper towel to make sure that I don't have too much paint on my brush. So I want to see the brush strokes, and I'm just going vertically and horizontally on my page, adding a little bit of that paint here and there. Completely randomly. At this stage I don't know what my focal point is going to be or where I'm going to stick it. I'm just having fun layer after layer. Now of course if you follow me you know that I love my splattering. I am going to do that with black acrylic paint. I just dilute that with water, and with a very thin brush I'm going to add some black splattering. This makes sure that the droplets are not very big, they are nice and fine, which is something that I love. Now time to do some stamping. This is a stamp set that I designed over 2 years, maybe 3 years ago for one of my Stamperia collections. It is discontinued and out of stock, so I'm not going to link it down, but I'm sure you do have some background stamps that you can use. I'm using this grid one, which I love for backgrounds, always gives some extra visual texture. And then I will use this one with the numbers, nice and thick. And I love that it gives you not only numbers, but also I made sure that I included some special characters in it. Always interesting to see at the background. Again, I'm stamping very randomly. I don't know where everything is going to go on top. And to tell you the truth, I really don't care. The fun for me is to actually create the background and I work layer after layer and see how this page evolves. If something gets covered up later on, I don't mind. In my mind, it still lives in my page and I just don't see it. So I am going to ink up the edge. This is going to create kind of a vignette effect where somehow the center of the page looks illuminated now. I'm also going to use some painter's tape there just to make sure that I don't transfer any black on the other page. Not that it matters. Usually I don't work on the other page, but I do that because I do videos and I don't want you to be distracted from what I did on the other page. Anyway, now I'm debating and trying to think which one of those 2 new stencils I want to use. I'm ending up using both of them. So for the first one, where the text is, I'm going to use some black texture paste. And again, randomly, I'm going to apply it in different areas. Always make sure that you don't transfer the whole stencil as it is. Make it look organic. So I'm going to just transfer here and there in some areas with my big spatula here. And when I lift the stencil, I always look and see if I need to add a little bit more, No reasoning behind it really, completely randomly. And I always get a question on how I clean my stencils, so I always scrape off the excess. Now the stencil is pretty much clean. I'm going to use a baby wipe to clean up my spatula and a little bit my stencil just to make sure that nothing is in between those gaps. I don't mind if the stencils end up stained. Stain is not going to ruin your stencil, but if you leave paste inside the gaps, it's not going to work for you the next time. So again, I'm going to do the other stencil, some stenciling, but this time with acrylic paint, and I'm using the same metallic copper acrylic paint that I used for the background with a very stiff flat brush. And I'm going over my stencil, just mainly dabbing over it, but I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. This way I make sure that I will get a good impression. I'm not going to use a stencil all over the place, I'm just going to transfer some of the gears. And usually I go for a visual triangle, so I'm going to do a little bit on this side. And once I lift it, I know I need to add one more. So you see the way I'm placing them, these gears are actually creating a triangle. It's always a great rule to follow. If you don't know exactly where or how random to add your elements, just follow this rule of the triangle. Now, I'm never happy with splattering, so I'm going to add a little bit more. You can do that with either that black paint that I did previously. I'm just lazy here and I'm using a spray. And this is very dark brown. And now I'm happy with how the background looks. I'm going to move on and try and find my focal points. For today I'm going to play with this junk journal, and this is a new booklet by Stamperia. I absolutely love those booklets because not only you get pattern paper, you get elements that are easy to pop out, no fuzzy cutting. You get pages full of designs that you can cut out if you like. This is one of those pages with the stickers. I am going to use some of the stickers today so you can see how I like to work with them. If I need to stick them flat, it's okay. If I want to have some dimension or sturdiness, I'm going to show you how I do it. Then I love that it has those quotes as well and words for my journaling. And I'm going to just start. Oh, this is a page full of people, a page with a woman, a page with man. And I'm just going to see what works with my page. So I'm starting with the clocks and the gears. I'm just going to pop out some of them in different sizes. Probably I will not use them all. I'm going to show you the whole process of my thoughts and how things come together. So anyway, I just took out some of the gears so I have some to play with. And then I'm just switching around, browsing through. Now I absolutely love this tag because it gives me some space at the center, but at the same time it's kind of dark in the border, so I feel like it's going to pop nicely. Now I'm going to find a person that I can stick on top, and I decided to go with this girl that has the binoculars. So this is where the idea pops in my mind. I'm going to have her coming through that circle. So I'm going to use my scissors and just cut out the inside. So I'm creating kind of a frame for her. Now, just like always, I do have a full list of the supplies that I'm using, including that booklet, down below in the description. But I do have in the description coupon codes for you. Just check it out, you will find coupon codes and all the details in the description for US shops, European as well as in the UK. Okay, so now my frame is ready. You can see the girl fits inside. I want to have a backing for that tag, however, and for that I want to make sure that I have some dimension. Sometimes, I love making things that are dimensional for my cards, but sometimes I cannot resist and I just have to do it for my journal pages. These are very thin, however. They will add just a little bit of dimension, but not too much, so it's not a problem inside the journal. I did add some foam squares, the thin ones, and then I'm making sure that I distress a little bit the edges, and with my scissors I'm not going to make a boo-boo here because I'm too fast, but don't worry about it, I will just find a way later on to cover it up and no one will ever know. I do have that eyelet which I'm going to attach at the top of my tag. I love to introduce different elements like this metallic texture, and then all I have to do is to just stick that on top of my element. So I create a lovely focal point where I can stick my girl inside. Now I will use my scissors to cut off the excess. And then the girl, remember, is one of the stickers. So this, although it is a sticker, it is matte, which is great for art journaling. However, I want her to be sturdier, not as thin as a sticker. That's why I'm going to stick her on top of a scrap piece of paper, and I will just fuzzy cut her all around. So when I end up, I have a lovely sturdy element. I'm just going to ink up the edges to make sure that she stands out against the background. And then I am going to use at her back a couple of foam squares, again those thin ones. This is not going to add yet another layer because they're going to fall inside that gap. So I'm super happy with this element. I think that it looks gorgeous, except the fact that the edge is torn, but let's forget about it for now. Now I am going to introduce yet another element for my background. This is drywall tape. Just find it on Amazon, on a warehouse store, or on your hubby's toolbox. That's where I've got it. And I'm just going to make it look more torn and more interesting, and I'm just going to stick it here and there. This is self-adhesive, and at this stage again I don't know how much of it is going to show, but I just want to have a little bit peeking through from behind. So I have my scissors here and I'm just going through the edges. These are tags that I popped out from the journal. I'm just trying to decide on the composition, and you know what, all the elements, just because they come from the same collection, from the same journal, junk journal, they are going to match beautifully, so it is a really foolproof process here. I did add glue only at the center, so this way I can easily lift the tag and just tag things behind to create my composition. Just place elements here and there. I do have the gears and the clocks, so I'm going to build the composition by using those as well. And always before I stick them, I like to ink them up with my black ink. I'm using this blending tool. It has a black distress oxide on it, black soot. And then for the gears, you can also, the clocks, you can always cut them in half and just stick them here and there. Nothing goes to waste. I'm trying to kind of create a balanced composition where not every element that I tag underneath or on top is on one side, mainly working with the corners. You see, some of them I stick underneath, some of them I stick on top. And then let's not waste the whole big thing. I can always use it on another area. So I just cut out a corner and then I'm just going to tack it underneath. I really had so much fun playing with this one. Sometimes it's fun when I create my own elements, focal points by stamping and inking and everything, and I get these comments a lot about it. But sometimes I really don't have so much time to spend on an art journal page, so I just want to make something, and I really have fun when I create the background. So it's always fun to have handy those junk journal booklets, because I can really be creative with the elements that are already there. But although I make it look easy, it's really not. It takes a lot of time and practice to make sure that you end up with a composition that is nice and balanced. But at the same time, I feel like by using just one booklet to create my page, you can easily get the booklet and follow along so you can create the same thing as I did. All you can do for this page is to use your own acrylic paints, and then I'm sure you all have a stencil to play with at the background and a little bit of stamping, so you can definitely recreate what I'm doing really easy. Just follow the steps, and I made sure that I didn't cut off any of the steps, so you can definitely follow along. Let me know in the comments if you actually look at the projects and recreate them. I really want to know. So I just chose one word which I'm going to stick, and I want it to be sturdier, not like sticker thin. And that's why I used again that scrap piece of cardstock. I even was able to do some distressing on the edges, which is going to give it more dimension. And then I'm going to stick it down with glue. I went with the word imagine. So I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Now you all know some finishing touches that I can do. First of all, I need to make sure that I cover that cutout corner. I don't want to see that anymore. So I'm just going to pick up a sticker and stick it on top. Now nobody knows, and don't tell anyone, that is cut out at the corner. Now I am using a very thin black marker, and I'm doing some sketchy lines on some of the elements. Not all over the place, not the perfect lines. These add kind of a shadow, and it helps the design pop even more. It makes it look more vibrant, let's say, or it has contrast with what is underneath. And then I'm also going to add my white gel pen highlights, just randomly here and there, sketchy lines again, nothing is perfect. And of course I cannot call a page done if I don't do some white splattering. I'm using here white calligraphy ink. This is the Winsor & Newton little bottle, but any brand works just fine. I'm trying to make sure that I don't have any white splatters fall on her face, but it is better to cover before you do that. But anyway, it worked just fine. And then just the finishing touch, I'm going to thread some string through that hole up at the top of my tag. And that finishes the page for today. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. Don't forget, down below in the description you can find links to everything I used along with coupon codes. Thank you all for watching.